If you're dealing with any health issues and would like to know how you can complement your healing journey with a more natural and holistic approach, I have another amazing story for you. Hey, I'm Michelle, and in my last video, I shared how I healed endometrial polyps naturally. This was back in 2015, and I haven't had any issues with polyps since. In case you missed the video, you can check out the link in the description below. It is truly a miraculous story, so I encourage you to check it out, share it with anybody you think it might help. And I have another miraculous story for you, and this is how I recently healed an ovarian cyst naturally in less than 2 weeks. So before I share the natural healing method I used, I do want to preface this is not a substitute for medical advice. I always seek out a medical doctor first. I get a diagnosis so that I can understand better what I'm dealing with, and then I do my own research as well and work together with the doctor to create a protocol that I feel happy and comfortable with. And for me, as a yoga therapist, medications and surgery, I recognize that they're absolutely necessary in some circumstances, but I look at them as a last resort. As a yoga therapist, I'm always seeking ways of how we can support the body, the mind, and the spirit in more natural and holistic ways. Because let me tell you, the body wants to heal. Our bodies want to be back in harmony. So when we're dealing with health issues, it is not our bodies fighting against us, and it is simply our body's signaling system saying, hey, there's something that's out of balance and we need to look at this. So that's the approach we want to take. That being said, with this ovarian cyst, this basically started back in December, where I started getting intense breast pain around my period. And it was unusually intense, like it hurt to put on a bra. And so I knew something was off with my hormones. So I went back to my doctor and I got my blood work done, and it did indicate that my hormones were lower than they needed to be. I've been on a plant-based progesterone since healing the endometrial polyps, which I shared about in the last video. And so that progesterone had to be increased. I had to increase my hormones, but I chose to stay on a bioidentical natural hormone supplement and not using anything synthetic. So that was just my personal choice. And that being said, the doctor also discovered an ovarian cyst, and she said that's likely causing your breast pain. So she had found it on my left ovary, and how she works is she always takes an ultrasound in her office, and then she sends her patients to a local women's center to get a second ultrasound so that we confirm the work and we have everything that we're looking at. So basically that's what happened with the endometrial polyps back in 2015. She had found it on the ultrasound in her office. I went to the local women's center and they found it at the local women's center on the second ultrasound, and then I began my healing protocol. So this time she took the first ultrasound, found the ovarian cyst on my left ovary, and I'm going to sidetrack for just a moment because there's a purpose to this digression here. And the purpose of this is to learn to tune in to our intuition and to the messages that the universe, that God is bringing us, because again, our bodies want to heal. So magically things will happen in your life if we keep an open mind and an open heart. So 2 years ago, I love to read, and I had found this book called The Emotion Code by Dr. Bradley Nelson. And in that book, he talks about how we have trapped emotions in our body that can be contributing to chronic pain, to disease, to illness. And this is right in line what I do as a yoga therapist. I always say beneath every physical pain is an unexpressed emotion. So we look at the emotional component and what's the spiritual life lesson that my body is trying to communicate with me. So I was very intrigued by this book about trapped emotions and his method, the Emotion Code, but I put it on my wish list 2 years ago and totally forgot about it. Fast forward to December, right before I started experiencing the breast pain. This happened before I knew I was even having any issues. I was at a store making a purchase, and I got into this deep, heartfelt conversation with the cashier, and she was excitedly telling me about how she's taking these new training programs. She wants to learn about yoga. She was asking me questions. And then she also shared about this amazing system that has changed her life called the Emotion Code. And boom, that's when this light bulb just went on over my head. And I was like, huh, that's interesting. I remember now putting that book on my wish list 2 years ago. And she was like, you have to get it. It changed my life. So I thought, okay, went home, went right to Amazon, got the book, The Emotion Code by Dr. Bradley Nelson. By the way, I'm not getting any kickbacks for this. I'm simply sharing this because it was this powerful and life-changing. So anyway, I picked up the book and I had started reading it, and then all of a sudden I was getting this breast pain around my periods. And when the doctor discovered the ovarian cyst, I thought, this is a wonderful time to put this to the test. So how the emotion code works, and I highly encourage you pick up the book. It's a fun and easy read. It's super easy and inspiring. He shares a ton of success stories of people who have had chronic pain for say 20 years and just couldn't get any help from doctors or medications or anything. And then they used the emotion code and had been miraculously healed. And the emotion code itself is really rather simple. It's almost deceptively simple. There were times in the book, and I will tell you right now, when I was reading these success stories, my logical mind was going, no way. There's no way that it could be this easy to heal. There's no way. And I found that very interesting because that's how deeply wired that is into our beliefs. Because remember, the body does want to heal, and it really is that simple. We just tend to overcomplicate things. So anyway, with this healing protocol, basically the subconscious, he talks about how the subconscious mind has a record of everything that you've ever been through, every face you've ever seen, every conversation you've ever had, every event or traumatic experience you've ever had. We might not consciously remember everything, but our subconscious has that record of everything. And through muscle testing, you can actually determine what emotions might be trapped within you, things that you might have not consciously processed before. So that is really important in our body's ability to heal, because there is such a mind-body connection. So anyway, I decided, you know what? She found this ovarian cyst. I am going to try this protocol, and you basically do muscle testing, and he teaches you, by the way, how to do it yourself. You can do this yourself with a magnet. You can even grab a fridge magnet. You might already have that at your house. So yes, deceptively simple. I'm still learning to wrap my mind around the science behind it. So that's why I encourage you to read the book, because it will give you a better understanding of how this works. And so I basically decided, I knew I could learn to do this with myself, and I have been testing myself and learning to do the muscle testing, but I wanted to find a practitioner so that I can really learn it more and see how it's done. So I found a local practitioner, and mind you, I had the second ultrasound scheduled 2 weeks after the first ultrasound. So I scheduled an emotion code healing session with a local practitioner the day before my second ultrasound at the local women's center. And I went through, this practitioner is also certified in something called the body code, which goes a little bit deeper into the body's processes. And he does explain a little bit more about that in this book as well. And so we went through this whole process of unearthing these trapped emotions in my body. And fascinatingly enough, there were a lot of trapped emotions that came from generations back. So it is possible to have those trapped emotions be handed down from generation to generation, because the reality is, we've all experienced trauma on some level, whether mental, physical, emotional, and our bodies, sometimes we don't know how to fully cope with it. We don't know how to fully process it. So it just gets stuffed in, stored in, and eventually it gets handed down and it can show up. So there was a lot of healing from generations back, including, in my own life. And we went through about a couple of hours of going through releasing those trapped emotions. And the next morning I had an appointment for the second ultrasound, and that's where they found zero trace of any cyst on either of my ovaries. So I went back to my doctor. She had gotten the second test results, and she's, looking at the first one, looking at the second one, and she's like, I'm not sure what you did, but you are the queen of natural healing. Those were her words. You're the queen of natural healing. Because she definitely confirmed 110% there was an ovarian cyst on my left ovary 2 weeks prior. I did the emotion code. I didn't do anything else at that point yet because I really wanted to test, does this work? And it did. No more ovarian cyst, no more pain anymore around my periods. I don't have any issues anymore around my periods. So I had to share the story with you because it is so powerful and empowering and a beautiful reminder that you have the power to heal. Like I said before, get the medical support and get whatever therapists or doctors or things that you need to integrate on your healing journey, and be willing, be open, and with your mind and with your heart to other natural ways of promoting that healing that already lies within you. So I would love to hear from you in the comments below. Are you going through any healing journey yourself? What has worked for you? What hasn't? By sharing your story, you're helping everyone in this community because, number one, they might get other ideas and things that they might not have looked at before. And most of all, they're getting hope. We're getting hope. I think having hope and having a positive outlook is such an important part in our healing journey. So let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. I really, really enjoy your comments and so appreciate your feedback from the last video. So let me know in the comments, and if you like this video, if it resonated for you, please give it a thumbs up. You can subscribe for more videos if you like, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.